Let me first preface this by saying that I am actually certain that this comment, which was actually two different comments back to back, were made with the best intention. This was posted on a video that I made about what if you have adult children that are narcissistic, which is a really sensitive subject. And that particular video, I sat on that idea for a long time because I get questions about it quite frequently because I am also conflicted about what to actually say about this kind of a topic. On the one hand, if you have narcissistic children, it is highly likely that something about their childhood is what turned them into a narcissist, which likely is caused by a parental unit, if not both parental units. And so you immediately think, okay, well, you have an adult child that has narcissistic personality disorder. What did you do wrong? It's sort of like the thread of thought that most people have. But I also am very well aware that there are plenty of people who have married narcissists, have had children with narcissists, have separated from that narcissist, and then their children grow up to become narcissists because of that narcissistic parent. There are also children that become narcissists because they're overly spoiled, and there are some people that become narcissists just because of biology. But 9 times out of 10, it has to do with their upbringing. And generally the advice that is given when it comes to realizing that if you have someone with narcissistic personality disorder in your life, the best thing that you can do is to go no contact with them. And it's one thing to say go no contact with someone that you're dating. It's another thing to say divorce and go no contact with someone that you're married to and don't have children with. It's another thing altogether to say go no contact with a narcissistic parent, go no contact with a narcissistic friend, co-workers, whatever it is. But what happens if it's your own child? Everybody has to make decisions for themselves on what is the right decision. Is it no contact? Is it low contact? Is gray rocking the answer, which is what Liz Paints put in her description, as well as another tactic you could do. There's so many things that people can do to try to protect themselves. But what I don't agree with is that if you decide to go no contact with somebody, I don't believe that that falls into the category of throwing that person away. And the reason I don't think that is because likely if you've gotten to the point where you feel like you need to go no contact with somebody, there has probably been a whole bunch of things that have happened leading up to that. Going no contact with somebody, particularly if it's a family member, and certainly particularly if it's a child of yours, there has probably been a lot of really excruciating things that have happened over a long period of time. The decision to go no contact is incredibly painful. It is very sad. It's very disruptive. There is nothing that's like comfortable or like celebratory about going no contact with somebody, particularly if you love that person. But what I think is also important to understand about narcissistic personality disorder is that these people probably see their victims as discardable. And likely since the narcissists see them as someone who they can walk all over and someone that they can easily discard, there has been probably a lot of trauma and a lot of just really disruptive behavior over a long period of time. And at some point, the victim is allowed to say, I don't want to be in this any longer. I deserve better. I deserve to have emotional health and emotional safety. I deserve to have my well-being looked after by the people who say that they love me. And that's not throwing someone away. That's putting yourself first. Phrasing it in that way of throwing someone away, I think is really not productive to the conversation. That implies that they are a healthy person who is loving and deserves to have you in their life. And that's not always the case. If someone has been abusive to you, emotionally abusive, psychologically abusive, financially abusive, so many different forms of abuse, so many different forms of manipulation, so many different forms of control. And at some point, when the victim stands up for themselves, it's not that they're throwing that person away, it's that they are standing up for themselves. I have always said when it comes to my narcissistic brother and my narcissistic mother that it's not necessarily me going no contact. I want to throw them away. I want them to heal. I want them to get better. And I want them to heal and I want them to get better for themselves. If the end result of them getting better is we reform a relationship, that would be great. That's not necessarily a promise. That's not necessarily something that I would be willing to do because there has been so much abuse through the course of my life. And I deserve to have a drama-free life if I choose to have a drama-free life. I don't have to martyr myself for a narcissist. And just because they're not in my life any longer does not mean that I have thrown them away. It means that I'm prioritizing my own health, safety, and well-being.